What's going on, family? So, question: have you ever genuinely been researching history with no agenda in mind, not to try to fit any kind of truth into the story or the narrative, but genuinely wanting to find out what really just was going on in the past, at any moment of time of whatever our past history is, to all the you know history to the prehistory and all that stuff. But anyway, have you ever really looked and just gotten into kind of dead ends all the time? Like, kind of just settle for someone's word. Kind of seems how it always is, falling out. And it's getting real annoying to see clearly secret society kind of wealthy kind of people always being the founders of every single place that you look to find the history for. It's well, there's another affiliated member of a specific group that conveniently is the starting head of the whole truth to that thing. And it's just crazy how I just keep running into it over and over and over and over and over again. And made me write this thing that I'm going to share, and it's a little bit longer, a little more fiery, if you want to call it that way. And it's not targeted at anything specifically other than corruption. And if you're not corrupt, going off your shoulders, right? If you are corrupt, it's going to hit you in the face, I guess. But either way, I'm just somebody who really wants to find honest truth without any kind of BS to it, without any kind of twist or any kind of just anything, just beautiful truth I can understand and grow with and be bigger with, And it's hard to find. It's really, really hard to find history-wise. And I'm not going to get into specifics for all that. There's tons of channels out there that I watch that they all hit up this questionable past quite well. But I'm going to read this now. It is my poem that I'm calling More Than Hope. And it's talking to you, corruption. All right. Welcome to this current vibration of coexistence, where this surrounding reality can have harmony and also be full of resistance. And it's here we split and divide these ideas we seem to create, but through fear, many unknowingly give their pride to the authorities of hate. But I'm here to tell you this. There is no more need to listen to the repetitive, corrupted messages, and no more need to depend on it to tell you what the question is, because that's an energy manifesting from within you. Now bring those passions to a boil to see all that you can do. Now this is important because passion is a focus of extreme precision as influenced heavily through strong intent and decision. Now these decisions are not bound to a specific territory, for they've been found in both past destruction and within glory. You see, this world has been conquered and divided for centuries, and that corruption expects you and I to only understand selected histories, which essentially turns the truth into a mystery, and eventually we seem to lose focus of the loving spirit and only experience through the sensories. But there's so much more to life than what we can see, touch, or hear, like inspiring a bright light within another's darkness or fear. And in this moment we witness the joy reappear. Where once there was dark clouds, it's now seen sunny and clear. I hope you understand, I do not ever wish to seem bitter. My only wish is for a new form of communal living, one more guided by the genuine philosophies of giving. And even for the evildoers, I wish for no evil, because this good love is even open for them to reveal. I just believe we all need to celebrate. Let this loving good build up until there's this conscious eruption where the fallout will cover all these layers of corruption, and the new healthy foundations can be imagined and assembled where we only build in light of the beauty we resemble. A place where if there's an abundance, then all will be nourished, and where we seek our passions is how all will flourish. We can build a real world where respect is how any leadership will be gained, and compassion can be used to upkeep and maintain. So frustrations can be translated as simply lack of understanding, to where the violence should subside along with all the pressures and demandings. And the masses of people could be massively peaceful if they further open their own awareness and control. with no longer the need for the few to tell you what to do or to limit how you develop or grow. I advise you ignore the violence from religion and find the guidance from within so the hate-filled suppression no longer shows. Rewrite our language and renew our meanings. Dust off these old nightmares and enjoy a clear dreaming. We must learn from just one past revolution that it's better labeled just a temporary solution. Because there's a break from oppression, yet somewhere there's another group being suppressed. This repetitive nature is the reality that must be confronted and addressed. So to the silent majorities, should some keep dividing and ruling over what they claim as inferior, or more importantly, do we all keep feeding this hatred with our arguing and continue to be the carrier? See, our understanding of this world has accumulated for centuries upon centuries, and our knowledge seems so vast, yet so ignorant to unseen histories. So I want to spend my life chasing these words and their meanings, molding them together to help describe what I'm seeing. And I see healthy wisdoms are too sacred to withhold, for they're naturally passed down to the young from the old. And within those precious moments, there's a trust that is formed. It's a comfort like sitting by a fire to be warmed. Now with this trust, I believe we initially formed a culture together, learned from each other how to survive all this weather, with congregations of people coming together for survival, excited and open to each new individual's arrival, and families came together for good intended reasons before all this scheming and treacherous treason, long before survival evolved into a blinded comfort where typically kindness is what you would confront first. Tribes of people all over this world's land, many never knowing one another, maybe unable to understand, until eventually some of those groups began to expand into the era when greed continually planted its flags in the sand. Washing ashore with only a self-title and sense of dignity, with narrow minds revered as heroes and intellects, establishing an authority that simply divides like a cell and grows, creating regions where more or less freedoms is all you can expect. A repetitive narrative of a colony across the pond discover something new only for themselves, for the lands have always been previously occupied, typically bringing their law and order to justify their dominance by making the indigenous ones hated or ostracized. Now this has created an anger that has swept over many generations and has resulted in this mass breakdown of relations. Even so, these cultures and societies grew as time carried on, all built off foundations of specific rights and wrongs, all producing truths and singing patriotic songs, all fighting over proof as to why they individually belong. Meanwhile, these groups, they only change with their names and leaders to where opinion means truth only from a few speakers. And I found this action of deceit never comes from the mass majorities. It's been planted into the subconscious through the obedience of established corrupt authorities. See, ideologies continually keep emerging, yet lately they've been twisting apart instead of merging. And within this mess, the self-justified authority flexes its muscle further. This, I can assure you, is an abuse of intelligence. You must ask yourself the obvious question now, just what is its healthy relevance? Because when looking at history's past evidence, we will find a trail of destructiveness. And to sum up that story, it's usually a conquering ego and it's run rampant for generations, is causing resistance from the like-minded and causing these many polar separations. Now masses of souls grow behind separated closed walls, staying safe within their authority's bosom of laws, all carrying the banner that proclaims, any outsiders will have to play by my rules, otherwise outcast and consider them fools. And if they won't change, we should do it with force, push them out of their homes and then lock their doors, with no way of re-entry unless there's a change of heart to just respect my authority and silently play your part. Man, that nonsense isn't for me. That's not how I feel or who I am. So to all active, corrupt authority I ask, what of the peaceful ones with no label or flag? What of the people who simply wish to be? Do you still consider them uncivilized and bad? Or maybe they portray the true capacity to live free. To be free. It's always been an idea of hope. So I say, let's no longer keep this as an idea out of reach. I know being free is simply natural, like loving or breathing, something no systematic authority can produce or teach. Alright, a little bit of a rant on that one. Hope it was clear. I'll try to put the actual words and lyrics into the description at another point in time, but until then, love, beauty, and peace for all. For all are a piece of beauty and love. God bless.